Kal Kat, the Kal Katster. Yeah, I finally got around to doing a review of this. Transformers Rise of the Beasts. I've seen it. I must say. Yeah, they did a good job. It was, it's a sequel to Bumblebee. It seems to be in a slightly different continuity than the Bayverse. Let's go into it. Yes, it seems to be inspired by the TF 2005 wiki and the all Transformers MUSH, as well as some of the early stuff. I'm sure it isn't really inspired by our stuff because that would just be weird. It's inspired by the stories that our stuff also was inspired by, so let's clarify that. It was inspired by the same classic stories from that time period, which is cool. It's also reminiscent of Transformers Prime when Megatron built a big space bridge thing and was going to like build it in the middle of the city, and Prime had to stop him. Very similar to that, a live action version of that. But it's also similar to a G1 episode, which the other one was playing homage to, where Megatron did something similar, built a big tower thing. Gonna use it to destroy the Earth, Cybertron. Pilot episode. Actually, the sequel to the pilot episode, More Than Meets the Eye and the Ultimate Doom. So it was the Ultimate Doom. So those of you that were disappointed at seeing the movie and going like, wait a minute, they didn't actually do this, spoilers. They didn't actually do certain characters. They cut them out. There was going to be Busman, Transit Man, which was one of ours. Jason Cranston from Pine Hill years ago, 85, 86. Thought of the character, Busman, but not Bussy Man, because Bussy sounds like Bussy and that sounds dirty. But no. Busman, Transit Man. He was supposed to be in it, but apparently they cut him out because then they would have had to pay royalties to Transformers meets Robotech, of which they're cribbing a little bit of from stuff. 90s one. The City That Time Forgot also had a Unicron angle on it. Yeah, Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Yeah, so takes place in 1994, and it's 7 years after Bumblebee. It's a sequel to Bumblebee. Prime and the Autobots have been out in plain sight, hiding in plain sight. It's got to be a different timeline than the Bayverse, really. So there's. Well, I was going to go back a little bit. The preamble to the story is set on Beast Planet. So it's a nod to Beast Wars Neo and to Alt Transformers MUSH Season 2 with the Beast Wars, Beast Planet. But we took our inspiration from them. So. And from Armada with Beast Planet and Beast Wars Neo. So that's where we got our Beast Planet. It's the same. Animus or Beast Planet. Not Cannabis. That's different. That's the other planet. Not Cannabis or Canopus, but Animus. As well as it had other names too. Beast Planet. So it's in there. Unicron attacks it, and then jump to the future to 1994. Not sure why Unicron would attack Animus, but he does. Scourge and his minions. Night Razor, and we have the truck guy. Yeah, it's got. It's supposed to be Nightbird, but it's Night Razor. But yeah, so that's what it's going to be if I get the toy. Let's just say it's Night Razor. But yeah, so she's in there. And we have there's a tow truck guy. look all the guys up. I could, but yeah, they're rather, yeah, they don't do a whole lot. Sorry, look up the Tow Truck guy. Beast Machine, Rise of the Beasts. Yeah, okay, so yeah, we've got the they call them Terrorcons, yeah, who are from Transformers Robots in Disguise 2001, or Car Robot, Japan. That's what they are. That's the Terrorcons from Car Robot. If you say they're them, then it makes sense. So, Car Robot homage, and the Beast people from Armada. Actually, they could also be from Armada and Energon and Cybertron, the Unicron trilogy. Because it's more like the Unicron trilogy, Unicron anyway. Galactus kind of a thing. That's what they were thinking. Yeah, so we have yeah, the threat of Unicron, the Herald of Unicron coming to. Yeah, it's basically Silver Surfer and Galactus. Silver Surfer's the Herald of Galactus. And yeah, it's basically the plot of the comic books and the other Fantastic Four. I think 2. Yeah, I think 2. Silver Surfer, Rise of the Silver Surfer. It's basically that. Yeah, which is but it's also City That Time Forgot. It's also trans tech to an extent. It is trans tech as well. Yes, it does have the Transformers meets Robotech Beast Wars thing going on. And yes. Yeah. And, so it's that too, and that's fine. So it's weird. So the yeah, we have Diaz, and Diaz, his character. He's in the story. He's got a brother who has sickle cell anemia, and he's like trying to get medical to like cheat the medical system of the 1990s to get medical care. It's not working. He's trying to get a job. Then this guy named Reek, who was right out of one of my stories. Reek is in there, and he has a name and everything. It's Reek. Reek is in this, so there's my contribution from the Mush. Reek is in this as a human, not a transformer, but it's Reek. It's him. But yeah, there he is, and he's a crook, sort of a semi crook. And they want to go rob a museum to get money. They'll steal a car from. No, they wanted to steal a car from the carport. It's kind of confusing because a museum attack happens at the same time. There's this mysterious thing in the museum. It's like this, idol thing that Fishback's character is trying to get a hold of. Yeah. So we got Dominique Fishback from the Disney or something. Just something. I've seen her before. She's been in other stuff. And of course Michelle Yeoh is Airazor. So she's been in Star Trek and in Transformers. It would make more sense if she was Black Arachnia, but Airazor's fine. Yeah, so Airazor. Yeah, the name choices in this are a little odd. And as a person who's done many Transformers fan films, one of the grandfathers of Transformers fan film to begin with, I was doing them when the show was on, as you know from my channels, and I posted the ones that I did back then, and I voiced over them. As a fan of that, and the ones I did during the pandemic, because there was nothing else to do in lockdown, did the Alt Transformers Mush based on the scripts from the Alt Transformers Mush, TF Transformers Mush website. Did all those, and then we did the ones on Lexicons for season 3, I believe it was. Yeah, Lexicon season 3. Did some of theirs. Yeah, and the leftovers will be the Robotech one. But yeah, so we're doing all kinds of stuff in Robotech. Transtech was our when they got us famous. The Transtech. Transformers meets Robotech. See, after Beast Machines dumped the Transtech idea, we went with it. So let's do that. Why not? Let's bring Rick Hunter home in the last episode. We had that. That was the first thing we thought of. Doing after that. Later on, the character, when our twins said, "Do start with the end first." Well, that sometimes works, but anyway, so we have Peter Dinklage was Scourge. That's interesting. Is that who that was? And of course, Jay Risa probably just butchered his name, was Cheetor, whereas in Beast Wars it was Kelly Lux. No, not really. It just sounded a little like it. An all-star cast of various characters that are ethno-diverse, and that's cool. Yeah, because Transformers was pretty much all the human characters were pretty much white in the show. Didn't really have any diversity. It's nice to see that there's diversity in the cast. A lot of it. The Nightbird should be Night Racer. Wheeljack shouldn't have been a Wheeljack because he didn't do anything inventive. He was either Ratchet, or he should have been Ratchet, or he should have been Perceptor, maybe. Would make a little more sense. Not Wheeljack, he's Perceptor. Or he could have been Wreck-Gar, but no, Wreck-Gar's the other guy. Sure. Let's see, we have... The bus driver guy did have a part in here, the bus guy. The bus dude was a bus driver. So the bus guy was in the story. And he had lines. They just left him out. They showed the interior of Bussy Man. They just showed him transform. Yeah. But here we have... so the car is in it. He just doesn't transform it. Yeah. Who is? I cannot find that other dude. The other Decepticon guy. Anyway, I'm rambling on. So let's. The main battle sequence occurs when they have to look for the transwarp key. It's basically a cyber key. And they have to find it on the planet, and it's inside the idol. They got to go to the museum and get the idol, and they essentially, the Terrorcons show up to take it. Of course, they should have been Predacons probably, but they called them Terrorcons. And Scourge, who all the fans, or well, some of the fans were guessing, not all of them, that somehow that was Nemesis Prime from the other timeline, who had been Michael Wavers, but he'd been screwed up. There is no indication in this movie that that's what happened with him. This version of Scourge seems to be the Scourge, Nemesis Scourge guy from the Unicron trilogy, but also from, but not Nemesis Prime. Or the Scourge from Car Robot. That's what he is. With his buddies. The tow line like guy. And the other guy. So, two ways. Also, he could be Masochistic Prime from Transtech. Part 3. I believe it was 2 or 3. One of them. I think maybe it was 2. It was 2. Masochistic Prime from Part 2. That's who he was. He was that guy. So he's one of our characters. It's cool. That's very cool because they did a Transtech homage and they did a good job. It was all for the whole thing. Smiles the whole time. It was awesome. I was just like, oh my god, this is amazing. It's cool. Like, yeah, this is what I would have done. Yeah. But yeah, Wheeljack wasn't Wheeljack. Well, it didn't do much. They had to upscale the these characters, make them taller, so they could fight with the Transformers, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to do that. And there's an earlier Prime, that's like the Apex Prime, which was a fun nod to that, and to the other, the Primal Prime, and then bigger one. So he's on the planet with him. So now we know where Primal Prime from Transtech ended up. He ended up on that Beast planet. Now you know. Anyone on the planet, you know. So yeah, they saw the Mush. They absolutely did. They watched our stuff years ago. But it was kind of at the same time, though. They were kind of producing their movie. This movie was in production. It was held back a year. It was actually finished last year, but they had to finish up something, correct something. Cut up Transitron, of course. But yeah, so it was actually 2022 when it was supposed to come out. So they were doing theirs while we were doing Mush Season 2. So they wouldn't have known necessarily about ours. It's just they had the similar set of stories in front of us, in front of them, and they were like, okay, let's do something like that. Let's redo the planet threatening the Cybertron threatening the Earth one again, like what we did with some of our stuff. So yeah, we didn't really do an Earth threatening force until Shared Hallucination. So it's the title of that one. Then we did. We built up to the big space war. We did the Carta Saga. Yeah. Earth-threatening destruction. Escape of the ship. Yeah, so this one has one major battle in New York. Well, it's Canada, but it looks kind of like New York, and they redid it, shared it. Included the Twin Towers and all that, because it was the 1994, and all that stuff's still there. New York did look like more like Canada than New York, but I guess a lot of those early... in order to make like New York from the 90s look like New York from the 90s, New York now doesn't look like that. I can see where they would have that problem. They would be like, oh, we can't really simulate that. We have to go find some other town that's older that looks like it'll pass for it. Because the scaling of the Brooklyn Bridge is a little off, and the scaling of some of the robots are a little off, but that's alright. There were some night shots they could do. But they didn't stay with night shots. I like that this movie didn't have the final boss battle be in the dark, like a lot of those other Marvel movies were doing, a lot of the DC movies were doing. And yeah, so we have... They reference a village of people that's more than meets the eye. They reference Stratosphere, who probably should have been called Jetfire, who would have tied into the other one. That should have been Jetfire. And someone else thought this too in the theater. Like, so that guy's Jetfire? No, they called him Stratosphere. The guy next to me is like, yeah, that should be Jetfire. Or Omega or something. Jetfire. But yeah. But the people on this side of me, they left. They didn't see the post-credit scene. So they missed out that the post-credit scene resolves the kids, or at least temporarily resolves the kids' medical issues. That was in the... before credits, post-credit scene. The medical issue gets helped out by somebody. They left, so they didn't get to see that part. But the kids on this side and the parent, they saw that part in the theater. There was no one rooting for the Decepticons to win. The audience was fairly into it. That was cool. It was a surprising amount of decent human acting, and none of the characters were annoying. Not even Mirage, who was a little bit off-cast. I can see why they did that, though, because it's just some making of stuff. And they were like, well, we couldn't make Mirage literally a Formula One race car, because then he couldn't drive on the streets. Neither would Wheeljack be a Kaiten's Enzo, was it a Maserati or something like that. It couldn't do that on the street either, so it wouldn't be street legal. So we changed those two around. Although they could have made Wheeljack still a car of some kind. It didn't have to be a truck. If we can make him a truck, make him like a sport truck or something. They had those. A VW bus is an interesting choice. But yeah, the Camaro, probably. So we have, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm not going to render this tonight. I'm just going to record it. Yeah, so we have a surprising amount of heart in the story. The characters are doing moral quandaries and stuff, but it's based on, they're kind of down and out, and they're like, rebel. Well, not rebels, but they're down and out, and they're, at one point the guy's got to like hang out with this guy that fences cars at one point, and the lady that works in the museum and finds the idols and all that. The boss lady gets all the credit. The white boss lady gets all the credit. Yeah, oh, it's messed up. But yeah, that's probably what would happen back then. 1994. I thought maybe at first that there was an anachronism and that the coffee cups looked too modern, like the Starbucks kind. But in this coffee cup scene, she's carrying coffee. It's kind of messed up. They made the black girl carry the coffee for the boss. That's kind of messed up. But okay. But the boss lady was like, but actually it wasn't. Turns out that type of plastic cup could be the other kind. You couldn't really tell. It could be the earlier version. It wasn't an anachronism. One of them tries to log on to an early version of the internet and look up like a Prodigy or something for his thing. But in 1994, they had an early version of the internet, and if she was like in a museum, they would be the ones that would have a university server connected to that for that, and they could look on Transformers MUSH. So yeah, that's possible. It just would have taken a while to download. It would have been like they did that joke in Captain Marvel when she looks up the internet and it's all still loading. So yeah, the server wouldn't be, but they were a museum, so they probably had a faster server. So give them that. So it wouldn't have been Google back then. It would have been Alta Vista or something. Or America Online. I think it was America Online. But yeah, the battle at the museum, and then the bad guys get the shard, and they take off back to the. I'm rambling around, but it's fine. They go back to they gotta go out to the bad guys. So the Autobots get a ride to Peru, and that is also directly a nod to Fire in the Sky from the original G1 Transformers. They go to Peru. They do Fire in the Sky. And they do Transformers Prime. And they do Ultimate Doom. All in the same. So they go G1 all the way with this. We did too. But yeah. Yeah, so they have Unicron going through the space warp when they set up the loop. Totally okay with what transpired differently, just because, sure. Taking liberties with canon. Transformers has always been a multiverse ever since G1 and the Japanese spinoff in the 80s, in the G1 and then the Japanese spinoff. It's been a multiverse ever since then. So it's always been a multiverse. So sure, they can have Beast Wars till the past and the future meeting each other. And there's a fake out in the commercial. There's two scenes in the commercial where they dubbed scenes together to make them work. There was a scene where RC, the girls of the Fishback character, what the hell was the name? Oh, Elena. Elena, should have known that. It's from Series 2. She's freaking out. She says, oh, it can't be happening. And RC's in the background going, like, flipping a coin or something. And it's like, yeah, it's happening. That's not in the movie. That scene's not in the movie. Or it was changed. Because she already knew they were there. So, yeah, they changed that scene. They made it more like a Jurassic Park chase with a little Terrorcon cat thing, spidery thing chasing them. Dino cat spider thing. That's what Scorponokses, but they didn't say they were Scorponokses. But that's explain where they came from, though. So that's why what's his face would have one. There were like different versions of Scorponok. Yeah, small Scorponokses, little mini ones, minicons. They have minicons. They have minicons. Great with that. I'm okay with all the cast. They did a good job. They weren't. Yeah, Jazz the guy playing Jazz is not. Yeah, he's not annoying like Mudflap and what's his name were in the Transformers movie, and the main character's not annoying like the Michael Bay ones. They're not trying too hard to be comic relief. At one point, the Greek character does get a little bit like hyperactive, but then he stops. Later on, he's referenced, but they stop him. It's just kind of like they would do in the Michael Bay ones. But they had to do an homage, and I'm okay with that. but yeah, they did a pretty good job. The little kid brother even wasn't a Kenny. It wasn't really annoying. Stratosphere should have been Jetfire, tied into the other story. Oh, Jetfire. Is that going to be a toy by chance? Yeah, a Titan class one, I would think. Pretty big. But yeah, a Titan class. Yeah, because nowadays the toys are downscaled by like a good inch and a half. So now your leader class is like Voyager class. Leader class used to be like well over 5 inches. But now it's like back down to like smaller. Although the G1 toys were not very tall. So they're right about the same as the G1 ones. They weren't very tall. So it's not like they're really too much shorter. They're just not as tall. But that works, I think. Plastic is expensive. Still, I kind of like the days when they got ridiculously oversized, like in Cybertron, and that giant Power Master-sized Galvatron ship, Megatron ship. That stuff was cool. Or the giant Draconus Galvatron. Ew, half of our collection is gone. We gave it away. But we do have newer ones. We have some of the newer ones, yeah. We kept a lot of them. Enough of them to finish the Robotech thing and the other one. And the cars thing. So, the DVDs are all gone, and the tapes are all gone, and yeah. So anyway, pretty much the whole studio is gone. Because it went under. But yeah, we're gonna do the Robotech thing down here in this studio. So eventually, or somewhere else, I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, I wanted to continue it. The battle for Peru and the volcano and the space. I've been kind of rambling around. Yeah, but didn't want to give it away too much. But it's a Transformers movie. I liked it. They go places that work. They have fun references. Diaz character is a lot like Prime, I guess. Also, kind of a reference to Gingrai. In a way, Gingrai and the Power Masters from the Japanese one, the Japanese Headmasters and Power Masters. And then Target Masters, kind of that. He's kind of a Gingrai. The kid uses it. There's a battle and Jazz gets damaged. Mirage gets damaged, and he uses his exoskeleton to form sort of a pretender shell. They reference that the villagers are more than meets the eye, but then don't do anything with that. No, he's got an exosuit at one point, which makes sense that he would have. I'm curious to know why Bumblebee didn't do that for Spike Witwicky in the Michael Bay movies. Think of that. Some of the... Although there is... it's not ILM doing these newer ones. And there is some drawback to that, because they don't quite have... Trying to make them look more G1 accurate kind of makes them look clunkier. And so yeah, there's parts where Mirage or Prime are running or whatever, and some of the other ones are running, and it just isn't quite there. is a fan film version, and that's fine if it's a fan film. But yeah, it does look clunky. His legs look clunky. Needed some work on them, and they are robots. It would be clunky. But yeah, the Michael Bay ones were way too much kibble, and these ones are better. But yeah, there's a couple of things they could have fixed. But yeah, for the most part, a lot of fun. Yeah, so this is kind of a spoilery review, but it's all over the place. And so I did not see the end coming. They actually have a bait and switch at the end. Entirely spoilery. As I figured out how they put all the things together. Once the dude shows up, there's a dude at the end. I won't give it away, actually. The guy shows up at the end, and it's not what you think. It actually is cooler than that. And it's like, oh shit. You're like, damn, that's what they're going to know. And then everything kind of files into place as to who this guy was. Who the guy that you met was. And you're like, oh, that makes sense. Okay. Yep. Because they have to do the rest of Trans Tech, which is the part where they meet a certain group of American heroes. And the third one. Yeah. That's the third. Yep. I wouldn't give it away. I didn't give it away. I almost did. Yeah. Oh boy. Now, if the STF-3 shows up, we'll just have to, all bets are off. Robotech, the Transformers. Collaboration. No, they're not going to do that. I'm going to do that. They're not going to do that. Clint Cowpoke's got it all worked out. He's going to figure it out. Anyway, so that's my meandering review of Transformers Rise of the Beasts, and where it fits in the canon and all that stuff. It does. It fits in the canon. Canon with several other multiverses that are going on all at the same time. Because they have the space bridge key that they got to get. Bad guy gets a hold of it. Of course the bad guy gets a hold of it. They got to stop him. It's like killing them all and stuff. Well, at one point Bumblebee gets mortally wounded. In the story. And of course, since we know he's going to be alive in the Michael Bay movies, we know he's mortally wounded, so we know somehow he's going to get revived. I won't give that away either. Yeah, took that right out of the story too. Yeah, so we have... you'd think that with some of these movies they could actually get some of the actual... Some of those guys are still around. I think it'd be a lot of fun if they got some of them... Yeah, they probably should have had Gary Chalk and the other guy to come back. Danny Kaye and them to do the Beast Wars. But they didn't do that. Probably should have. And they're like, okay, I'll do it. And of course Megatron wants to know why he wasn't in it. Yes. Where was T-Rex Megatron? Nowhere to be found. No. Cheetor maximized. I'm a cat. This is spot on smooth. Rat trap maximized. At least they got Peter Cullen to do it again, because he's 81 years old. They wait any longer, he will probably kick the robo-bucket. He is getting quite long in the tooth. Yeah. He said before this, he got the character from his brother, who had been in the war. He's like, oh, I'm really in the war. If he was 81, it must have been Korea. Or it could have been World War II, but it was probably Korea. And yeah, he said the voice is a combination of John Wayne and Orson Welles or something. Oddly enough, Orson Welles went on to play Unicron. So He's like, yeah, it's a combination of those. Kind of make him sound a little bit like his cowboy. Not just low-voiced, but a cowboy, just a tad. Autobots transform. Yep. And now Sir Frank Welker as Megatron. No, he's not. Which Frank Welker said in the comments, "Oh, I'm not out of a job." Not yet, anyway. I do a very good sound wave. Laser beak, eject, operation, destruction. Laser beak returns Megatron. And of course, shockwave. Shockwave sounds a bit more like this. Megatron, I trust Cybertron to go. It will remain as you would leave it. Oh, Grimlock, me Grimlock transform. Me Grimlock. It's glad. Yes. Ew, the hilarious Pteranodon guy. And I deliberately made Springer sound like Batman from Batman. Not quite Batman the animated series. He wasn't Conroy. He was more Batman. He was more the Batman from the Nolan movies. Yeah, he's more that guy. I'm Springer. But he was sort of that, and he was sort of Clint Eastwood. So he's like, I'm Springer. The gag being that he heard that there was a human that identified as an attack helicopter. And he showed up and he said, I do too. He grabbed this pundit guy and took him up into space. Dropped him. Then Optimus Prime then said, oh no, you have killed him. Oh well, he was not important. Ha ha ha. No. Anyway, so yeah, Transformers, well, Scourge would do that. Anyway, Scourge.